Anyway, I also want to preface this whole video by saying, not bashing China in this video. We love China. If you follow this channel, we love China. We love traveling through China. We recommend people travel through China.
If you're an American citizen, get the 10-year visa, which we did. That's how much we love China.
Yes.
That's what we're saying.
But unfortunately, when you make videos and you're honest about things, people tend to get triggered by that. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Well, the Chinese do.
Oh, wow.
Too much?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, when can we ever just say the truth?
I don't know, but
it's
I could just see front page of BuzzFeed, racist couple talks about their soul. That's literally what we're dealing with. What the hell are we doing?
Anyways, we're going to tell the story about... We're continuing story time. So if you saw our last video on Russia, you know the debacle there. This is the Chinese half of the debacle, the shitstorm, which was in the same week. So this is quite the week, and we're going to tell you all about that week of me going to a Chinese hospital and what that was like.
Let's talk about when things started going wrong. And they started going wrong actually very quickly after we arrived. I think we were there for a day and a half before Lynn started having, let's just call them symptoms.
My symptoms. Yeah, we were at breakfast and we're like, oh, I'm so excited. We're going to check out the ice festival tonight. Let's bundle up. And we're making plans and logistics and how we're going to finally see this ice festival that I've seen for years. It's been going on for like 30 years and I've known about it for like 5 years. I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. This is a bucket list item. We're eating breakfast, go back up to our room, our windowless room.
Yeah, it was a windowless room, by the way.
Windowless room, and it didn't matter because the whole town is just incredible. This is a crazy, incredible place. And I was like, huh, Noah, something's wrong with my side. Weird. Did I sleep wrong? And I was just, I don't know, what was I saying to you? I don't
remember. Yeah, it was just that her back was hurting, and I thought maybe it was because of the spill she had taken with all of her gear when we arrived in China prior. But yeah, so it started with these symptoms.
On one side. And then, yeah, as I was getting ready for the day, brushing teeth, I was like, no, it's not going away.
No.
What is this? And it started getting worse and worse and worse. And before I knew it, I was like, oh God.
You knew exactly what was wrong.
Something's wrong.
Yeah,
kind of go back to like 10 years later, a decade later. I've had these symptoms before. Yeah.
You mean a decade earlier.
A decade earlier. What did I say?
A decade later.
I don't know. What day is it?
What she's trying to say is that 10 years earlier, she had a kidney infection, and she recognized the symptoms of that kidney infection.
Yes.
So,
what that feels like is, the only way I can describe it is like Mike Tunchin. Yeah, you know.
Mike Tunchin. Wow.
Words. I teach kids English, by the way.
Mike Tyson was punching
me in the kidneys.
That's
He's
what
just
it felt
going
like.
full on kidney punch on me, and I was like, I know exactly what this is. I'm like, Noah, I have to go to the hospital. This is bad.
Yeah.
I think I have a kidney infection.
Which really sucks.
It really sucks.
All right, so we have experience going to hospitals in different countries. We had to do it in Korea. We had to do it in Japan.
All for me.
All for Lynn.
Yeah.
And it always starts with a trip to the guy at the front desk. You got to ask the guy at the front desk, where the hell do I go? How do I get to the hospital? So he gave us some directions on how to get to the hospital through the subway system, taking public transit, and it was actually fairly straightforward. The problem is that as we were in transit, Lynn's symptoms started getting worse.
Yeah, again, kidney punch, and then I'm like out of breath at this point. It's like,
yeah, she started doing this weird convulsing
yeah,
thing.
and I'm like, oh, like just, you know, I was being kidney punched. It sucked. So yeah, we step out of the train station.
Yes, the vestibule.
And I'm just in shock. I thought we hit a market. I thought it was a market. There was a woman roasting chestnuts outside, and it was just billowing smoke. It was a market in front of the hospital.
Yeah, the hospital looked pretty run down. I'll be completely honest with you. When we entered the hospital, it was very chaotic and
dark,
and the building
dirty.
Looked very, very run down. So it was a bit of a shock for us. We're not used to that.
Yeah,
so,
I had a moment. I'm kind of dramatic, but in that moment, I was like, this is where I die. I was so upset and scared. And you know me, you've known me forever.
She's not a crier.
I don't cry.
No.
I just started bawling out of straight fear. Not frustration, not because I was sad. I was just like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die here, and this is gonna be terrible.
I think what it is for me...
I was so scared.
I think what it is for me, this whole experience was really, really difficult because it wasn't so much just the hospital facilities, which were admittedly a bit scary to us, but it was the fact that the language barrier was basically absolute.
Yeah.
And that's where things get tricky.
Yeah, I just got done crying. Noah calmed me down. He's like, okay, we need to, yeah. And he's like, shake out of it. And I'm like, oh, I can't. What are we gonna do? But I did. I got it together. I'm like, okay, I gotta go to the desk and get registered or checked in. They need to know what I'm doing. As I'm doing that, it's China. Love you, China. There's this couple that come in, and then they're handing their papers, and I'm like, I'm literally right in line. I look at her, and my eyes are red. You can tell I'm just bawling, or I've been bawling. And the woman looks at me, she's like, oh, and she steps back, and then she like motions her husband, like, get the fuck out of line. I'm crying, and I'm just like, here, take my paper. It has words on it, read it. And they're like, no, this isn't the place. You need to go to this building over here. So they're motioning this building. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because in this building was...
The building was pretty bad.
Whew.
There was like mold on the walls
There's
and
mold,
stuff. It was
yeah,
really,
there
really
was
bad.
paint, there was concrete falling down. There was, like I said, it was just really scary. It was like something out of a horror movie. For me, it was shocking, and that's why I started crying.
Yeah.
Just pure shock
Yeah.
and fear at first. I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
I was crying, and Noah calmed me down. It's very shocking.
Yeah.
What I've been seeing.
Well, and again, the feeling of being completely isolated. We're out in
Yeah.
Harbin, China, which is in Inner Mongolia. No one speaks English, and normally we don't care about the language barrier when you're traveling under normal circumstances. It's fun, whatever.
When you
but
don't
when
feel
medical
good.
stuff, really serious medical stuff starts happening, it kind of sucks.
Yeah,
So
my symptoms are getting worse. And
so we made our way to the emergency section of the hospital.
And this was nicer,
Yeah,
a lot
for
nicer.
sure.
We're like, oh, okay, it's lit up, there's 2 floors, and there's not someone dying in the corner. I'm like, okay, I could deal with this. This is fine. What do I do? So yeah, we are directed to the emergency room. This whole time I'm just like crying and holding my paper, and I'm like, emergency. And they direct us to the emergency room.
So we go into one of these doors, and there's, I think, 2 or 3 doctors just kind of hanging out behind this desk. And then people just kind of wander in at will with papers, and they hand
All
the
at the
papers
same time.
all at the same time. And the doctor says something, and then they leave and then go get whatever the doctor said to go get. So it's very weird. It's like they have this little base with doctors in it that tell you to go various places to get tests done and get, like, I don't know what.
Yeah, there's no meeting one-on-one.
No.
I just said, I think I had them translate, I think I have a kidney infection. I hand them the paper, and the one woman, she speaks okay English. She was okay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of English, and then she asked where I hurt, and I'm like, oh, my side. And then from there, yeah, she's like, get registered. And I understood that. I'm like, okay, get registered. Where? She's like, 2nd floor. So we went to the 2nd floor. We passed like 50 smokers in the hallway.
That's when it started to get a little bit weird for me, because people were smoking in the hospital.
In the hospital.
A lot. Smells like cigarette smoke all through the hospital. At least on this floor.
So I'm like, where's the 2nd floor? And then you go and you get registered. When you get registered, it's a cash. What they
It's
mean,
a cash-only system.
It's a cash-only system, and what they mean is it's just a cashier desk. So you're at this cashier desk. It's kind of like being at a bank, and they give you a card, and they give you this number. I went to the Harbin Medical University, the 2nd affiliated hospital, and they gave me this, and what this is doctors, each doctor you see, they write in here what's happening. So the other doctors can talk to each other, but they don't really talk to each other. So you're on different floors all over the place.
It seems as if the system is set up to keep people circulating throughout the building, so there's not a huge bottleneck. That's kind of the impression I got.
Me too. So I'm registered, right? Go back down. My doctor steps out, and she has to give me tons of attention. And then I feel bad too, because she's in charge of like 200 people in this emergency room. There's one doctor, 200 people, all mad rush, but she has to give me like special attention because I'm the foreigner. I feel terrible about that, by the way. But she goes out and she's like, that room there. So it's just a room, but it's closed. I'm like, do I go in? Are these people in line? What's happening? So I just go in. When I go in, boobs. I just see boobs. There's this woman having full on, her shirt's up, boobs out, and there's 2 women technicians, and they're giving her a, what is the scan? What is that one?
Ultrasound?
Ultrasound.
Yeah.
They're giving her an ultrasound, and I'm like, oh God. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, so sorry. And she's surrounded by like her family members. I'm like, oh man, my God, I'm so sorry. And I walk out all awkward, and then I'm like, well, wait. but I need to go in there. Like, what do I do? One of her family members opens the door back up, and they're like, come in. What do you want? And so I give my paper to the technician. Boob's still up. Girl's doing a thing, but the technician, with one hand, she's got the ultrasound, and then one hand, she looks at my paper, and she's like, She's like, stay here. And I'm like, okay. So now I'm in this room with this woman having an ultrasound, and all these people who I assumed was her family members. That's the line. The line was inside. These are strange men in line for an ultrasound, and they're just waiting around, and we're just all watching this woman have an ultrasound. I was so uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to do. This woman, she gets done with her ultrasound. And you have the lube. So then they give her napkins. She lubes off her stomach. She throws the tissues, the used tissues, on the floor. I look, and on the floor there's just tons of lube tissues. But right behind me in this small little room, there's a huge trash can, completely empty. I'm like,
see, I wasn't present for any of this. I was outside.
No, I was like, Noah, stay outside.
Yeah.
So Noah's doing his thing outside.
This type of stuff always makes me feel like I just want to fly home and buy a house in the suburbs and have a normal life.
I'm inside just totally uncomfortable, and then next thing is a guy just gets up, lifts up his shirt, they lube him up, and I'm just like, what do I do? I don't know what to do. I'm trapped in this small room. I'm like, a wash bin. I'm gonna wash my hands. So I'm washing my hands, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm so awkward. And then I can see in the mirror, like, him just like staring at me, getting all lubed up. It was weird. It was the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah. And that was the first test that she had to take, and she came back outside. She's like, I didn't do the test because am I in the right spot?
Yeah, I'm like,
we thought it was going to be
test.
like a pee test or something.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know I was getting an ultrasound, getting lubed up in front of these people.
So you didn't get anything done?
No, I'm not gonna lift up my what is this? I don't, you know what I mean?
Okay.
These strangers.
So, but that turns out that is the way they do it. They do the ultrasound first, then you have to do the pee test.
I'm holding a vial of my pee around. No one knows where to. I'm like, how do they know it's me? And I had to go to a different place and get like a scanner, and now I have to go back to the laboratory.
Hurry and turn it in before somebody else gets in front of you. But then you have to do a blood test, and that's where things started to get really weird because, again, like I said earlier, it's not so much the surroundings of the hospital or whatever, okay? I'm sure we could have been treated there. The problem is when people want to start sticking you with needles, you need to be able to speak fluently to them, ideally, right? So that's when it started getting a little weird, and also...
It's been like an hour at this point, hour and a half maybe we were there. And again, each test, I did have a pee test, go into the cashier, came back down, went to the lab.
That took a while too. There's like a machine that we had to...
What do I do?
It was really weird. But part of the reason we were freaked out at the blood test thing is because we've dealt with her kidney infection before, and it didn't involve a blood test. So
it involved an IV. They knew instantly. It involved a pee test. And they're like, oh yeah, you have a UTI. You're hurting because you have this. And then they give me an IV, and then they give me antibiotics. That didn't happen, and none of that was happening. I was like, they're like, you need to set up a blood test, and you come back tomorrow.
They wanted us to come back the next day to move on with phase 2.
No, and then not only that, I was still, again, people are smoking in the thing. It was better than the first place that we went to, first building we went to, but I was looking around, I'm like, the health standards here are,
they're pretty bad.
They're bad, yeah. The technician, the labs and stuff, nobody's using gloves. When you start to poke me, no.
Yeah, so that's why we were nervous about them wanting to do needle stuff.
Yeah.
So
we stopped it there.
That was pretty much the end. And at that point, I started to feel really, really, let's just say, trapped. Because that night I went back, I talked to the people at the hostel, and I explained the situation. I said, hey, this place isn't working for us. We can't really understand what they're saying to us, and they want to start doing kind of weird stuff, like taking blood and doing all these tests.
Then I asked if that was normal, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's normal. Everyone has an ultrasound, everyone has blood tests, and then they start doing things to you. But
And the thing that bothered me is that I asked them, I even offered to pay one of the staff to come with me to the hospital
as a
translator, and they wouldn't do that. So at this point, I started feeling very trapped. Lynn was getting worse. So I started thinking, okay, we need to fly somewhere. But the problem is that most places we would have had to wait a couple of days to take that flight, and we just couldn't do that. We started whittling away the possibilities, and South Korea was close and cheap. But then I'm thinking, well, if we go to South Korea, we're just going to want to go to Tokyo afterwards. So we decided to go straight to Tokyo.
Yeah.
And then I started looking for hospitals in Tokyo, and found out that the airport in Narita has a 24-hour clinic, and they actually have emergency facilities if you really, really need them. So when we arrived, by the time we arrived to Tokyo, Lynn was in really bad shape. And basically, the strategy was get off the plane.
That was the shittiest plane ride I've ever had. And waiting in Harbin in the airport, oh man, I was over it. Again, I can do China. That's our takeaway. Do China healthy all day long. When I'm sick or something's wrong, my patience for everything is.
You can't do it. You can't
I can't. I'm not in that. I don't have the humor for it at that time.
Yeah, so basically our strategy was just get to Japan, land, find a police officer, and tell them that we have a medical emergency, which we did exactly that. And they sprung into action.
Yeah.
They escorted us
Narita is like a city.
It is a city. It took a while to get to this little clinic, but they escorted us to the clinic. We found the clinic. There was one nurse in there and one doctor.
And
we
they
had
closed,
the whole,
right?
Yeah, they were closed.
They
So
were
we had the whole
closed.
place to ourselves.
Yeah.
And then she got one-on-one treatment with a nurse and a doctor.
And within like 10 minutes of getting stuck with an IV, done. It just left my body. No more.
The pain.
No
anyway.
more. The pain left my body. No more kidney punches. So at this time it was like day 3 of kidney punches. Oh man,
Yeah.
that was rough. So yeah, and then that's our.
That's basically it.
Basically
and then
it.
we had to spend the night in the airport.
Yeah, it was like
really sucked.
It was like 2 a.m. when we got out of the clinic. There's no taxis. There's no nothing.
I know. I was wandering around. I'm like, taxi,
please, taxi. And taxis are crazy expensive. And I'm like, I don't care. I'll pay. Just
Yeah.
get me out of here. But we ended up sleeping in the.
I don't know, next to like a 7-Eleven or
Next
something.
to a 7-Eleven.
No, it was next to the bathrooms. The 7-Eleven was.
Yeah, with another family. Yeah, we shared a bench.
Yeah, that was quite the experience. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, then that's how we ended up in Japan. So
And now we're still here.
thank my kidney for that. Yeah. And we're still here.